Daniel always believed that some marriages didn't break suddenly. They cracked slowly, silently, like glass under pressure. He just never thought his own would be one of them. For 13 years, he and Maya lived what he assumed was a peaceful, ordinary life. A comfortable apartment, two routines that fit together like puzzle pieces, and a quiet understanding that they were each other's safe place. Or so he thought. Maya worked as a graphic designer from home, spending her days sketching logos, editing photos, and sending files to clients. Daniel, on the other hand, worked long shifts at a car dealership, 10 hours a day, surrounded by polished hoods, humming engines, and customers who always wanted a discount. Life was exhausting, but Daniel found comfort in the thought that Maya was waiting for him at home. Over the years, Daniel never questioned Maya's need for privacy. Her laptop always had a password, but she told him it was because clients trusted her with sensitive designs. Her phone was always locked too, but she said she was protecting her work chats. He accepted it. He trusted her more deeply than he had ever trusted anyone. But trust doesn't always protect you. Sometimes it blinds you. The first sign appeared on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, right after Daniel finished helping a family choose their first car. He walked into the dealership office and found a bright yellow slip lying on his desk. A simple printed note from the parking authority. Vehicle recorded near restricted zone. Action required. Below that was his license plate number, .AT first. He thought it was a mistake. He knew exactly where his car had been, parked at the dealership lot like it always was. But the date and time on the notice didn't lie. According to the paper, his car was seen downtown at 11:47 a.m. On a day he was at work, giving a test drive to a customer that he felt his stomach twist. There was no way someone stole it. He had the keys. And even if someone from work borrowed it, they would have told him. His manager was strict about that. Confused, he stepped outside to check the lot. There his car was, right where he had parked it that morning, looking completely normal. But something tiny, almost invisible, made his heart skip. The driver's seat wasn't set to his position. He always kept it far back because of his height. Now it was pulled forward, much closer to the steering wheel. Someone shorter had driven it recently. Someone that he didn't want to jump to conclusions. It could be a simple mix-up. Maybe Maya borrowed the car and didn't tell him. But she never drove it. She hated driving in the city. His mind kept trying to rationalize it, and every explanation felt thinner than the last. When he reached home that night, he casually asked her if she had gone out earlier. Maya didn't blink. "No, I was home all day." "Why?" Daniel nodded, forcing a smile, pretending the answer didn't sting like ice in his chest. He could feel something shift between them, a heavy silence forming in the corners of the room. Later, while Maya showered, Daniel did something he'd never done before. He stepped into the hallway, opened the laundry basket, and searched for her clothes from that day. The first thing he found was a white blouse, still faintly smelling of perfume, but also something else. Something unfamiliar. A cologne he didn't wear. A cold wave washed over him. And then he saw it, tucked in the pocket of her jeans, a parking receipt, dated. Stamped. Located exactly where his car had been spotted. Daniel froze. The truth wasn't fully revealed yet, but the first crack had appeared, and he knew deep down something in his marriage was about to shatter. Daniel didn't sleep that night. He lay next to Maya, staring at the ceiling while she breathed softly, peacefully, as if the world was perfectly normal. As if she hadn't lied. As if that parking receipt wasn't burning a hole through his sanity at 3 a.m. He finally closed his eyes. But the moment he drifted off, his mind replayed every tiny detail of the last few months. Her sudden client calls, the way she took extra showers, how her phone seemed permanently glued to her hand. Little things that once felt insignificant now formed a dark constellation of suspicion. Morning came too slowly, and when it did, Daniel got up without saying a word. Maya was in the kitchen, stirring her coffee, humming lightly. Her hair was tied lazily in a bun, making her look innocent, almost angelic. It made the gut punch of betrayal feel even sharper. "Did you sleep all right?" she asked, turning to him with a smile. "Yeah," Daniel lied. "Just tired." He poured himself a cup, trying to act normal, but inside he was a storm. He wanted to confront her, ask her why she lied, demand the truth. But he also knew that once he opened that door, there was no going back. No unknown, no unknowing. And a part of him was terrified of the answer. Instead, he decided on something else. I'm taking the day off, he said casually. She raised an eyebrow. Really? Everything okay? Yeah, just need a break. What he didn't say was that he needed to investigate. Quietly, carefully, without alerting her. When she finished breakfast, she went into her home office to start her work. Normally, she stayed glued to her desk until noon. Daniel used that window to slip out of the apartment. His first destination was the parking authority office. He wanted to see the footage from the so-called restricted zone, where his car had been recorded. The clerk made him fill out a request form, and after a 20-minute wait, brought up the corresponding file. The footage was grainy, but the car was unmistakably his. Daniel leaned closer, heart pounding as the video played. A woman got out of the driver's seat. Her face wasn't fully visible, but her posture, her hair, her height. It was Maya. His breathing turned shallow. His own wife, driving his car, in a place she claimed she hadn't been. On a day she insisted she was home, that he felt sick, betrayed, but also more confused than ever. Why lie about something so simple? Why deny borrowing the car at all? Unless she wasn't alone, that he watched as she walked around the car. And then a second figure exited the passenger side. A man. Daniel's heart crashed into his stomach. This man followed her casually, too close, too familiar. He couldn't see his face either, but the body language said everything. They moved together like people who knew each other intimately. Daniel felt his hands shaking as he stepped back. That it wasn't just a lie anymore. It was something deeper, something woven into his daily life without him ever noticing. A secret, a second life. He left the office feeling like the ground under him had shifted. His car had become the silent witness to something he wasn't meant to see, something that had been happening right under his nose. Daniel sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel, feeling the leather strain under his fingers. He needed answers. He drove to the cafe near their apartment, the one where Maya sometimes claimed to meet clients. He parked across the street and waited, watching the entrance, scanning every person walking in or out, hoping, praying that what he saw in the footage was some misunderstanding. But deep down, he already knew the truth. Finally, at around 11:30 a.m., Maya appeared. She wasn't alone. The same man from the footage walked beside her. They didn't touch. They didn't act romantic. But their closeness was unmistakable, like two people sharing a secret world. Daniel felt something inside him crack, but he wasn't ready to confront her yet. Not without knowing who the man was. Not without understanding the whole truth. Because whatever his wife had been hiding, it hadn't just started a few days. It had been going on for years. And the car notice was only the beginning. Daniel stayed in his car, hidden behind the tinted windows, watching Maya and the unknown man walk into the cafe. His breath felt trapped in his chest, like the air itself refused to move. Every logical part of him screamed to storm inside, confront them, drag the truth out of her. But something deeper held him back. He needed to know everything before he made a move. He watched through the windshield as they entered. Maya picked a corner seat, the same spot she always chose when they occasionally visited together. She looked comfortable, too comfortable, as if this wasn't new, as if this was their routine. The man sat across from her. Their faces were partially hidden behind the glass, but Daniel could see enough. They weren't touching, they weren't flirting, but they weren't behaving like strangers either. Their heads leaned in when they spoke, their expressions soft, familiar, almost synchronized. A quiet intimacy that cut deeper than any physical act. Daniel felt a tremor crawl through him. He had been replaced in ways he didn't even recognize. After about 20 minutes, they stood up. Maya walked out first, the man following close behind. Daniel ducked slightly, lowering himself in his seat. They didn't notice him. They separated outside, Maya turning left toward home, the man heading right toward the street where taxis lined up. They didn't hug or say goodbye, but the lingering look they exchanged told Daniel enough. Who was he? That question gnawed at him the entire drive home. Maya arrived about 10 minutes after him, entering the apartment as if nothing unusual had happened. "You didn't go out?" she asked casually. Daniel swallowed the sting of her lie. No, just cleaning up a bit. She smiled and walked to the kitchen. As soon as she disappeared down the hallway, Daniel pulled out his phone and opened a blank note. He typed only one sentence. She's lying to me. It was the first time he ever admitted it, even to himself. That evening, Maya acted perfectly normal. She talked about a new client project, complained about her tablet pen acting up, and asked what he wanted for dinner. The normalcy felt like poison, sweet, slow, and deadly. Daniel played along. After dinner, when Maya went to shower, he waited until he heard the water running. Then he stood in the hallway again, staring at the office door. She always kept closed. Her laptop was inside. Every instinct in him said that the answers were in that room. He grabbed the spare keys from the drawer and unlocked the door quietly. The room was clean, neatly arranged, smelling faintly of vanilla candles. Her laptop sat on the desk, silver, sleek, and, as always, locked behind a password. But Daniel had an idea. Earlier that day, he had stopped at a small tech repair shop. He remembered the guy behind the counter telling him, "If you ever need to see someone's browsing history or hidden files, bring the device. We can mirror the drive." Daniel had planned it, quietly, carefully, and now, with Maya in the shower, he lifted the laptop, slipped it into his bag, and replaced it with an almost identical decoy he bought from a pawn shop. Same weight, same color. She wouldn't notice the difference unless she tried to open it. The shower ran for another 10 minutes. Daniel sat in the living room pretending to watch TV, hiding the laptop bag behind the sofa. When Maya walked past him, towel wrapped around her hair, she didn't look twice. "Are you coming to bed?" "In a bit," Daniel said. "Just finishing this episode." She nodded and disappeared into the bedroom. Only when her breathing became slow and steady did Daniel finally exhale. Tomorrow morning, before she even woke up, he would go to the repair shop. He didn't want half-truths. He didn't want guesses, that he wanted the full picture. Every hidden file, every message, every secret, because whatever Maya was involved in, it was bigger than an affair. He could feel it. And the truth he was about to uncover would destroy everything he thought he knew about the woman he married. Daniel arrived at the small tech repair shop before it even opened. He sat in his car with Maya's laptop in the passenger seat, tapping his fingers anxiously against the steering wheel. Every minute felt like a countdown. He wasn't just carrying a device. He was holding 13 years of trust, now shattered into razor-sharp pieces. At T9:01 a.m., the store lights flicked on. The same technician from yesterday, a thin guy with sharp eyes and a tired smile, unlocked the door. "You're early," he said, raising an eyebrow. Daniel lifted the laptop. "I need what we talked about. The full drive mirror. Today." The man nodded, motioning him inside. "Leave it here. Check back in a few hours." "No." Daniel placed his hand flat on the counter. "I am staying." The technician studied his face for a moment, then sighed. "All right, but it might take some time." "That's fine," Daniel said, though his heart was anything but fine. The man set up the laptop, connected a set of cables, and began the process. Daniel watched every bar loading across the screen, every file transferring, every hidden folder emerging. He felt like he was peeling off layers of life he thought he understood. After nearly 2 hours, the technician turned the monitor toward him. "You want to see this?" Daniel leaned forward and T first. Things looked normal: client folders, photos, design software. But buried beneath those were encrypted directories, hidden partitions, secret notes. The technician clicked on one of the encrypted folders. A password prompt appeared. Daniel felt hopeless for a moment, until the technician typed a few commands and bypassed it completely. Inside were messages, thousands of them, but a long chat thread with a saved contact listed only as R. Daniel's blood ran cold. The messages stretched back years. He clicked on the oldest ones first. "I saw you again today. Don't pretend you didn't recognize me. You think you can build a new life without telling him? We're connected forever. You know that." Daniel frowned. This wasn't the language of lovers. It was something else, something darker. He kept scrolling. "He trusts me blindly. I hate hiding this." That was Maya's message. His chest tightened. Then another message from R: "You made your choice 13 years ago. You can't undo it. You owe me answers." Daniel felt icy sweat slide down his spine. 13 years ago was the year Maya and he got married. What happened back then? What was she hiding? He clicked through more messages. Some were friendly, others tense, almost threatening. But none were romantic. None suggested an affair in the way Daniel expected. Instead, they hinted at a secret, something about a past Maya had buried so deeply that even he didn't know it existed. Then he found a folder labeled Archive. Inside were photos, not inappropriate ones, but unsettling ones. Maya standing outside buildings he didn't recognize. Maya with a group of people, including the same man from the cafe. Maya signing papers in an office. Maya crying in a parking lot. And then one image that made Daniel's heart stop, that a picture of Maya holding a newborn baby. But it wasn't their daughter. They never had kids. The timestamp on the photo was dated 1 year before their marriage that Daniel's breath hitched. Did Maya have a child she never told him about? His hand shook as he opened the next file, another image of the same baby, this time being handed to someone. The corner of the photo revealed part of a face. The man from the cafe. Daniel's knees nearly gave out. He steadied himself against the counter, feeling his pulse pounding in his ears. The technician looked at him carefully. "Do you want me to keep going?" Daniel swallowed hard. Yes. He needed the truth. All of it. More files loaded. More documents. More messages. And then he found a scanned letter point. One sentence stood out, circled in red. The adoption must remain confidential for the safety of all parties involved. Adoption, confidential, safety. Daniel felt the room spinning. Maya hadn't been cheating, not in the way he thought. This was something else entirely out of past life. A hidden child, a man involved deeply enough to meet her in secret. The car wasn't used for an affair. The IT was used for something tied to that old life. A life she had carefully shielded from him for over a decade. Daniel closed the laptop slowly, breathing unevenly. He didn't know whether to feel relieved, betrayed, or terrified, because whatever Maya was hiding, it wasn't just a secret. IT was a danger. Daniel drove home with the laptop beside him, the weight of it heavier than anything he had ever carried. His fingers trembled around the steering wheel. Hours earlier, he thought he was uncovering a cheating scandal. But what he found was far more complicated and infinitely more terrifying: a hidden child, a confidential adoption, that a man who had never disappeared from Maya's life. Daniel pulled into the parking lot of their apartment building, but didn't get out. He sat there absorbing the truth, the engine still running, his thoughts exploding in every direction. Why didn't she tell him? Why had she kept something so life-changing from him? What was this danger the documents mentioned? And who exactly was R? By the time he finally went upstairs, Maya was in the kitchen preparing lunch. She looked effortless, serene, like her world wasn't sitting on a foundation of secrets. "There you are," she said with a warm smile. "I thought you went to work." Daniel swallowed the bitterness climbing up his throat. "I had some errands." He placed a quick kiss on her forehead, pretending nothing was wrong. But inside, he felt a growing storm. For the first time ever, he looked at her and didn't fully recognize the woman standing in front of him. After lunch, Meyer returned to her office, and Daniel retreated to the bedroom. He needed air, space, time to think. He laid the laptop on the bed and opened the mirrored files again. He wanted to understand everything before confronting her. He clicked on the most recent messages between Maya and R. "R, we need to talk again. It's getting urgent." "Maya, I told you to stop contacting me like this. I can't let him know." "R, you don't have a choice. Things are changing." "Maya, please don't force this." "R, I'm not forcing anything. You knew this day would come." Daniel's heart thudded in his chest. What day? What was happening now? A new message arrived. Timestamped the previous morning to R. "I found him." Daniel's breath froze. Found who? His mind leapt immediately to the child, the anonymous baby in the photos. The one Maya had held 13 years ago. Was the child looking for her now? Or worse, was someone else looking for them? He clicked the next message. "Maya, Daniel doesn't know anything. You promised you would stay away." He felt the blood drain from his face, that he wasn't just excluded. He was being protected from something. Or someone at a notification sound suddenly echoed through the room. Daniel jumped. IT wasn't his phone, that IT was the decoy laptop he placed in Maya's office. He hurriedly walked down the hallway and opened the door. Maya wasn't in the room, probably in the bathroom. His heart pounded as he tapped the keyboard. A new message appeared on Maya's chat app from R. Meet me tonight. Same place. We don't have time. He's getting too close. Daniel stared at the screen. He's getting too close. Was that about him? Or someone else? Before he could process it, Maya's voice floated down the hall. Daniel, are you in my office? He quickly locked the screen and stepped out. Just looking for the stapler. Oh, she said, wiping her hands. I thought I left it in the living room. Let me check. She smiled again, but Daniel noticed something he hadn't earlier, a flicker of fear behind her eyes. She was hiding something, yes, but she was also scared. Not scared of him, scared for him. That evening, Daniel watched her closely. Maya paced around the apartment, checking the windows twice, jumping at a distant siren, texting someone constantly. Her hands kept trembling. By 9 p.m., she grabbed her purse. I'm going out for a bit, she said. Where? Daniel asked calmly. Just fresh air. Her eyes darted away. I won't be long. He nodded, letting her believe he bought the lie. But the moment the door shut behind her, Daniel grabbed his jacket and followed, but he stayed far enough behind not to be seen, watching her footsteps, her hurried pace, the way she kept scanning the street. She turned down the block, then entered the same cafe from before, but when Daniel got closer and peeked through the window, Maya wasn't sitting with the man. She was arguing with him, visibly shaking, eyes full of fear, hands clenched, and then Daniel heard it through the slightly opened window. We can't hide him anymore, Maya, the man whispered. Please, she begged, don't drag Daniel into this. He doesn't even know the boy exists. Daniel's world tilted violently. The boy exists, still alive, somewhere. The child Maya gave up was now back in her life, and Daniel finally understood. Daniel stood outside the cafe window, frozen in place, his pulse drumming violently in his ears. The world around him blurred, traffic, lights, voices, all meaningless compared to the truth unfolding just a few feet away that there's a boy. And Maya hid him, and he is alive, and someone is looking for him. Inside, Maya's voice trembled as she spoke to the man. R. Daniel now saw him clearly, mid-40s, tense jaw, haunted eyes. Not a lover, not an enemy, something in between. Just tell me where he is now, Maya pleaded. Is he safe? He's safe for the moment, R said. But things are changing. They found out he's looking for answers. They think you might contact him. Maya covered her face with both hands, shoulders shaking. All these years I stayed quiet to keep everyone safe. Daniel couldn't breathe. Who is they? What danger? What kind of secret was Maya carrying all this time? Then her said something that shattered everything. He's 17, Maya. He wants to know who his real parents are. Daniel's heart slammed into his chest. 17. That meant the boy wasn't just born before their marriage. He was born when Maya was barely an adult herself. Maya whispered, voice cracking. Does he know about Daniel? No, R said. He only knows you were young and scared. But you need to talk to him before someone else does. Before they twist the truth. Maya nodded, wiping tears. I just didn't want Daniel to feel betrayed. I didn't want to lose him. Daniel felt something inside him break. Not from anger, but from finally understanding the weight she'd carried. The way she trembled. The way she lied. Not to hurt him, but to protect him from a truth she didn't know how to reveal. He stepped back from the window, heart pounding. He needed to leave before she saw him. He needed time to process, to breathe. That he walked down the block and leaned against a cold brick wall. Closing his eyes. 17 years, a hidden child, a secret adoption, but a man involved only because he helped her through it. And now the past had returned. He stayed there for nearly an hour, staring at the ground, trying to decide what to do. Anger battled compassion. Shock battled understanding. But something inside him whispered, you can't walk away. Not now. Not when everything is coming apart. He finally went home. When Maya returned, she found him sitting on the couch, silent, calm, waiting. Her eyes widened. Daniel, you're awake? You didn't go to bed? He looked at her carefully. We need to talk. Her fingers tightened around her purse. Her face drained of color. "Daniel, please, whatever you think, I know," he said softly. "About the boy." She froze. Her purse slipped from her hand and hit the floor. Tears gathered instantly in her eyes. "I'm so sorry. I should have told you years ago. I was scared. I didn't want you to see me differently." Daniel inhaled shakily. "Why didn't you tell me, Maya? You thought I wouldn't understand. I thought you'd leave." She covered her mouth, sobbing. "I thought you'd think I was damaged or untrustworthy." And then the threats started, and her told me staying silent was safer. "Threats?" Daniel whispered. She nodded. The adoption wasn't simple. The father, he wasn't stable. He didn't want a baby, but he didn't want anyone else to have him either. We kept everything sealed to protect the child and to protect me. Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. This wasn't betrayal. This was trauma. This was survival. He reached for her hand. "Maya, look at me." She lifted her teary eyes. "You should have told me," he whispered. "But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. Tell me everything. All of it. We'll deal with this together." Maya collapsed into his arms, shaking, relieved, terrified all at once. That night, they stayed up until dawn, talking, revealing truths buried for 17 years, pulling every hidden piece into the light. The next morning, Maya told her she would meet the boy. Daniel went with her, and when they finally saw him, a tall, nervous teenager standing outside a community center, Maya broke down. The boy hesitated, then walked toward her, slowly, cautiously. Daniel stepped back, giving them space. He realized something profound.